Day 2, section 5.7, we're still going to work with point-slope form. So again, let's review what point-slope form is. It's the equation of a line written using a point on the line and the slope. And we read it y minus y1 equals m times the quantity of x minus x1. So now we've reviewed that formula, let's review a few other formulas. First, the formula for slope. Think about what that is in your head. Hopefully you're saying y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We also have slope-intercept form. That was the majority of section 5.6, and that's y equals mx plus b. Then we have standard form. We are going to work some with this one today. It's been a while since we've used standard form, but standard form is ax plus by equals c. And the difference with standard form is we have x's and y's on the same side of the equation. So again, how to write an equation in point-slope form, then slope-intercept form. So this is what we did yesterday. This is a review. So first we find the slope, then we're going to pick a point. I always use the first one. Then we write it in point-slope form. Remember, that's literally just plugging the numbers in. And then we're going to rearrange it into slope-intercept form by solving for y. So let's review. First we want to find the slope, because here we're writing the equation in point-slope form, then slope-intercept form for the line that passes through the 2 points. We don't know the slope yet. Yesterday, I believe, in most of our examples we were given the slope and we could just plug in. So here we need to find the slope. So it's negative 5 minus 3 over negative 1 minus 2. That's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we get negative 8 over negative 3. And I want to point out that you need to be writing that as a positive 8/3. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. So point-slope form, again, I'm going to use the first, the first equation. So we have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. I like to write that equation out so I know right where things go. This was my x1, y1, and I can go ahead and label that x2, y2. So y minus 3 equals 8/3 times x minus 2. Now I need to distribute y minus 3. I have 8/3 x minus 16/3. And now I need to add 3 to both sides. So for my slope-intercept form, I get y equals 8/3 x. And now I have to take a negative 16/3 and add 3. So it's negative 16/3 plus 9 over 3 if I get a common denominator. And then we just do negative 16 plus 9, so we get negative 7/3. So minus 7/3 since it's negative. You can write plus a negative 7/3, that's fine too. So given 2 points, we can find the slope, we can write it in point-slope form, and then we can rewrite it in slope-intercept form. If you'd like to pause the video and try this one on your own, we have x1, y1, x2, y2. So we have m equals negative 2 minus 2 over negative 4 minus 4. That's going to be a negative 4 over a negative 8. And that reduces to a positive 1/2. So for point-slope form, it's y minus 2, remember minus y1, equals slope times x minus 4. And now we want to distribute. So y minus 2, 1/2 x minus 2, a half times negative 4. So negative 2 or minus 2. Now we're going to add 2 to the other side. And we get y equals 1/2 x. And negative 2 plus 2 is 0. You can write the plus 0 if you want, but you don't have to. That means that this line goes through 0 on the y-axis. Think about where that is. That's the origin. One more example of this type, I think, so try this one again on your own, pause the video, and then check your solution. So we have x1, y1, x2, y2. So our slope, 6 minus 4 over 1 minus a negative 3, so 1 plus 3. That's 2 over 4, or again 1/2. So now we have y minus 4 equals 1/2 times x plus 3. Remember, the formula is a subtraction sign. When you're plugging in a negative number, it's minus a negative. So now we distribute. And after we've distributed, we add the 4 to the other side. And that gives us, for slope-intercept form, 1/2 x. Now we need to do 3/2 plus 4, or 3 over 2 plus 8 over 2 if I get a common denominator, and that's 11 over 2, so plus 11/2. Next we want to talk about writing an equation in point-slope form to slope-intercept form, then to standard form. So the first 4 steps are the same as before, but to get from slope-intercept to standard, we have to rearrange by, please note this, you don't have to write all of this, but I do want step 5 somewhere. You need to get x and y on the same side. We can't have any fractions, and our x term cannot be negative. So lots of rules here. No fractions, x term cannot be negative. So you'll see how we fix that. So now we're still starting off the same, finding slope, writing it in point slope form, then slope-intercept form, then finally standard form. So our slope is negative 6 minus 6 over 3 minus a negative 3. So that's negative 12 over 6, or negative 2. So point slope form is y minus 6 equals 2, it's negative 2, times x plus 3. Again, it's a negative 3, so it looks positive here. Y minus 6 equals negative 2x minus 6. We're going to add 6 to both sides, and we get y equals negative 2x, and it's a plus 0. I don't have to write that. Now standard form, remember, we need to move the x term over to the other side. So how do I move a negative 2x? Well, I add it to the other side. And usually when we write in standard form, a couple of things. We always put the x term first, so don't say y plus 2x. Let's say 2x plus y. And what do we have left over here? Well, we have 0 left, but I do need to write that. I can't just leave it blank. So we do need to say plus 0 here. You don't have to say plus 0 here. That's up to you. But for standard form, we definitely need to write the 0 on the right-hand side. So then we check. Do we have any fractions? We do not have any fractions. And our x term is positive. So this is the standard form. 2x plus y equals 0. So that's the new part in today's lesson, is getting all the way to standard form. So for slope, on number 5, we have 2 minus a negative 6 over negative 5 minus 3. So that's 8 over negative 8, which is negative 1. Point slope form is y plus 6, negative 1 times x minus 3. That's y plus 6 when we distribute negative 1x plus 3. We subtract 6 to the other side. And for slope-intercept form, we get y equals negative 1x, or negative x, you can say, minus 3. And again, to get to standard form, we need to add the x term to the other side. I am going to drop the 1 here now. We typically don't say 1x. Really, we don't usually say negative 1x either, but I just wanted to make sure you recognize that as a negative 1. We write the x term first, so it's just x plus y equals negative 3. And you actually could check this answer by plugging in one of these ordered pairs, making sure the left side equaled the right side. So that's a good way to check yourself. If we use this second ordered pair and I plug negative 5 in for x and 2 in for y, I get negative 5 plus 2. That equals negative 3. So I do know I have the right standard form for these two ordered pairs. I don't have any fractions, and my x term is not negative, so we're okay. Number 6, again, find the slope, write it in point slope form, slope-intercept form, and standard form. So for slope we have 3 minus 4 over negative 1 minus 2, so that's negative 1 over negative 3, which is a positive 1/3. Point slope form, we get y equals, nope, just kidding, y minus 4 equals 1/3 times x minus 2. So we need to distribute y minus 4, we get 1/3 x minus 2/3. Now we add 4 to both sides. So our slope-intercept form is 1/3 x. We have a negative 2/3 plus 4. I need to get a common denominator. So I need a denominator of 3, that'd be 12. That's going to give me 10 over 3. Negative 2/3 plus 12/3, so plus 10 over 3. Now, we need to put it in standard form. So you can do this a couple of different ways. You could move the x term first, then get rid of fractions and your negative. Or you could get rid of fractions now, and then try to get rid of the negative later if you have one. Either way is acceptable. In the past, I've preferred to move the x term first and then just get rid of fractions and the negative all at once. So we're going to subtract 1/3 x to the other side. Don't freak out because it's a fraction. If that were a 2, you would have said subtract 2. It's just a 1/3. So we get negative 1/3 x plus y equals 10/3. And now we have to think back to when we were solving equations with fractions. How do we get rid of the fraction? Well, in order to get rid of fractions, you need to multiply by whatever is in the denominator. That's a 3. But every single term needs multiplied, not just your fractions. The x term needs multiplied by 3, the y term needs multiplied by 3, and the c in the back, that 10/3, needs multiplied by 3. So that's one step we need to do. But at the same time, the x term is negative, and we cannot have a negative x. So how do I get rid of that negative? Well, hopefully you're saying you could multiply by a negative. So why don't we just multiply everything by negative 3? If the x term is negative, everything has to be multiplied by a negative. And since we also have fractions, we have to multiply everything by 3. So why not, using the expression kill 2 birds with 1 stone, multiply everything by negative 3. So what happens here is the negatives cancel, make a positive, the 3's cancel, and we get 1x, or just x. Negative 3 times the 1 that's in front of the y gives us a negative 3y. And the back, the 3's cancel, but we have the negative times a positive, so we get negative 10. So the standard form for this one is x minus 3y equals negative 10. Okay, hopefully you understood that last one. That one's a little tricky because we had to get rid of the fraction and the negative. But we'll work on worksheet 5B in class.